Today I've got 8 irresistible, seductive fragrances to go through. Any of these will do you proud. If you're interested, just stay tuned. What is good, YouTube? Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Mikey Cologne, and if you're tuned in, as always, thank you very much for doing so. Thank you to all my subscribers, and if you're new here, just thank you in general for stopping by. That is right, I've got 8 great seductive fragrances here. Some are newer, some are a little bit older, but they all work just as good as each other. Trust me, you can wear these on date nights. Most of these are cooler weather fragrances. There is a few unisex ones in the list, a couple are targeted towards the men. I'm going to get going, and I'll have to start off with this. This is in no particular order, but I just wanted to start with this fragrance. It is from Mate Premier, and it is Un Son Suave. What a beautiful incense fragrance this is. Stunning. Let me just spray it. So these are 100ml bottles, and it is Eau de Parfum concentration. Smart looking bottles, heavy, thick glass, atomizer's decent. The juice, it's all about the juice. Oh, man, this was love at first sniff. Right, you've got Somalian frankincense, benzoin absolute, bourbon vanilla absolute, Spanish labdanum absolute, and Venezuelan coffee. This is all about the incense. As soon as you open, you get the frankincense. It's mixed in with that Venezuelan coffee, but that is sitting in the back, and the coffee comes across a little bit roasted. The incense is not so smoky, it's more smooth, sweet and sensual. After a couple of minutes, the benzoin, the labdanum, the vanilla, they all come crashing in, and they create this warm, seductive sweetness. It's got this sexy edge to it. Once it calms down a little bit, then the fragrance turns a little bit smoky, but very lightly. Like, this is not a full-on, heavy, smoky incense fragrance. It's more warm, sweet and smooth. There's not a lot of changes here, and I'll tell you what I do get up top that is not listed in a note breakdown. I get hints of chocolate, and I don't know if it's just everything blending in, like the labdanum, the benzoin mixing in with the incense, and then you've got that coffee in the back. So I don't know if all that's creating this chocolatey effect, but to my nose, I can pick up a little bit of a chocolatey nuance. Maybe it's just my imagination. Like I say, there's not a lot of changes. This is not about the complexity of the fragrance. It's about how it comes across. This goes great on a date night. Trust me. But if you're just going out in general to a date, if you're going out with the lads to a few bars and you want to smell attractive, rock this. It's got this sexy edge to it. Warm, sweet, incense. Also, I do get a little bit of a woodsy touch with it as well. But maybe that's my imagination again. This is a stunning fragrance. It really is. And it definitely deserves to be on this list. And that is Un Son Suave from the house of Mate Premier. If you haven't tried this yet, sample it. I guarantee you, if you enjoy the notes that I've read to you, you're going to love this fragrance. The quality of the materials or the ingredients and to the juice, outstanding. If you know the house of BDK Parfums, what is one of their most popular fragrances to date? Or I think it's the most popular to date. That is right. It is Grisanne. What a stunner this is. This is everything what I look for in a fragrance. Beautiful presentation. The caps are solid, metal, weighty, pressurized atomizer. Plus, this is unisex. No doubt about that. Look. God, right. You got fig, black tea, cardamom essence, iris absolute, bourbon vetiver, sandalwood from India, and tonka bean absolute. This opens up creamy, milky, spicy from that cardamom. It nearly almost comes across like tonic. After a minute or so, that tea accord comes in and it adds this green herbal facet to the fragrance, but very lightly. This dries down a little bit more. Now the vetiver creeps in. The fragrance is still creamy. The vetiver adds a very light, earthy touch. I mean, very light. Plus, as it dries down more, I do get smoky touches from it. But at this stage, that sandalwood has crept in, and now it's sort of taking over that creamy facet that you got up top from the fig. And now it's more like a woodsy, creamy nuance that's going on. You do get powdery touches from the iris. I need to get the powder or the powdery touches from the get-go. After a few minutes, once that opening calms down, I do start to get little subtle powdery touches. But as it dries down more and the woods creep in more, that sort of powdery side does turn up a little bit, but it never becomes too much. Stunning fragrance. Like I say, this is everything that I look for in a scent. This will be great for date nights. There is no doubt about it. It doesn't matter who's wearing this. If you want to smell attractive when you go out, any of these fragrances, this one and all the ones that I'm going to talk about, they will work without a doubt. The longevity is not the best on my skin. Well, it's moderate. I get about 6 to 7 hours. Sometimes it's crept over a little bit just past the 7-hour mark. It's moderate projection, but the smell, it's great stuff. And that is Grisanne out from the House of BDK. Sample this. Coming from the house of Farmacia SS Annunziata, it is Gardenio Del Iris. Right. When I first got this, I was like, yeah, this would be great for summer. This would be great all year round. It is a very attractive fragrance. The iris in this is outstanding. I'm going to spray it and I'm going to read you the notes and I'm going to get into this. I love this fragrance. This is backup bottle worthy without a doubt. If you enjoy powdery iris, you're going to enjoy this. But I'm going to say from the get-go, to me, in the opening, it's unisex leaning femme. But as it dries down, it goes straight down that unisex line, in my own opinion anyway. And the bottles, look at that. I love the way these look. Oh, this is good. Right, you got bergamot, lemon flower, LME, myrrh absolute, iris, black amber, cedarwood, musk, vanilla, cashmeran, and Padua are called. I ain't got a clue what that is. All I can tell you is that this opens fresh, a little bit citrusy. It's that lemon flower that's definitely throwing in that freshness that you're getting up top. You get a little bit of spice, a little bit of musk, and straight away you get the iris. And like I say, it's more on the powdery side. It's a little bit makeup-y, lipsticky. You do get them nuances with the iris here, but it's more powdery than the lipsticky side. It dries down. Now, once you start getting into the mid, the top notes have slowly dissipated. The wood's creeping. Now that amber, the myrrh, turn this fragrance a little bit warm and sweet. So it starts out fresh with sweetness and powdery touches. Mid, woodsy, warming up. The sweetness is amping up a little bit. Dries down a little bit more. You do definitely pick up the vanilla. The vanilla is laying in the base. The woods are more present in the complete dry down. So it starts out like daytime, and then as it dries down, it slowly turns into nighttime, if that makes sense, because it just warms up a bit and that freshness has dissipated. This is a great scent. It really is. I see nobody talking about this brand, and I own a few from this brand now. They do some great fragrances. They really do. They don't even know I exist. If they didn't, I wouldn't be saying it. This is worth checking out. Gardenio Del Iris. If you enjoy iris as a note, and you're not scared of that sort of, it's not a complete feminine opening, it isn't. It just leans on that side, but once it gets into the mid, this is straight down the middle, my friends. This is worth a go all year round, office safe, seductive. This would be great on a date night because you've got that ambery sweetness going on. This is worth checking out as well. This fragrance from the house of Amarud Off the Dark. Let me tell you something, if you wear this, you're going to be getting something after dark. 100%. This is fantastic. This has got plum in it. I don't want to get carried away. These bottles, they look stunning. And the juice, the atomizers on these are beastly. Look how much juice this gives out. You ready? Look. Loads. Right, you ready? You got apricot, carnation, osmanthus, pepper, saffron, oud, frankincense, plum, rose, suede, amber, ebony, musk, tobacco and vanilla. This fragrance goes through stages. It opens up juicy, you get that apricot. The osmanthus is kind of adding this milky texture to that apricot. And then the plum, so you've got all them juicy notes going on up top. But this is a warm fragrance. It doesn't open up fresh. It opens up with a blast of spice, fruity, but warm and sweet. After that opening calms down, the woods creep in a little bit. This gets a little bit of a musky side to it. The rose in this comes across jammy because you've got all that fruity sweetness going on from the apricot, the osmanthus, the plum. They give that rose a jammy, sweet edge. And then it goes woodsy. As it dries down, the tobacco kicks in with the frankincense. So it gives it a little bit of a smoky touch, but it's not heavy on the smoke. They come across more like a settled warm smoke, if that makes sense. As it dries down more, you get vanillic touches. This is worth a go. I don't know when this come out. It was either 2018 or 2019, I believe. Also, before I forget, you do get this leathery, suede undertone in the fragrance. Not really at first, but after a few minutes, once you start getting into the mid, that is when you can pick up that leathery undertone. And then when it dries down completely, that becomes a bit more present with the woods. The oud in this is, to me, it's really just giving this fragrance a little bit of a woodsy backbone. Like, if you smell this, to me, I wouldn't be like, yeah, that's got oud in it, because it doesn't come across that way. It might be like a supporting note to maybe beef the fragrance up a bit. Great scent. This is for cooler weather. This is for date nights. If you want to smell irresistible, rock this one. To me, this is unisex, leaning masculine. In my own personal opinion, take it with a pinch of salt. And the longevity on this is great. And that is Oud After Dark from the house of Amarud. This is a stunner. I was looking at my Mason Tahiti fragrances and I was like, yep, you deserve to be on the list. Is Iris Stretto. This is a coffee fragrance, you can tell by the name. But it's, to me, it's more about iris and violet. There is your bottle, it's 100 ml, it's Eau de Parfum concentration. Let me spray it. Atomizers could be better. Oh, it's good. It's creamy, rich. You got Arabic coffee absolute, pink pepper, iris concrete, violet accord, Kashmiran, Indonesian patchouli oil. Straight off the bat, you get the coffee. Like I say, it comes across slightly roasted, but creamy. More like a latte. You know, you've got that frothy, creamy top on that coffee. That is how this opens up. But you get the iris, you get a little bit of lipstick, that cosmetic bag. The violet is adding this sweet, powdery touch. You do get some woods. Once the opening calms down, the woods creep in, that spice that you get up top, that levels out, and then it just, that creamy facet sort of tones down, and then the powdery side amps up a little bit from the violet. You still get the iris, but once you sort of get into the base, it's woods, a little bit musky, semi-sweet, warm, powdery, and that iris is faintly there. Like it goes from top, mid, and then when it gets to the base, that iris really starts to level out. It's not an overly complex scent, but scent profile wise, it smells great. You're not going to be walking around smelling like a Costa's or a Starbucks, because it's not a full-on coffee fragrance. Like I say, a little bit roasted, but more creamy than anything. This is a great scent. Very nice for cooler days. This is mouth-watering. To me, it is anyway. Anyway, that is Iris Stretto from the House of Maison Tahiti. This is a great pickup. Now we're going to talk about the fragrance with two faces. It is Brioni Eau de Parfum Intense. The way this starts out and the way this ends up, you would think there was two different fragrances, but there's one note to me that stays nearly through the whole life of this fragrance, and it is apple. Right, let me spray it and we'll get into it. Lovely looking smart bottles, as you can see. Good atomizer, loads of juice, magnetic cap. Oh, this is good. This is good. This is irresistible, mouth-watering, seductive. Right, you got mandarin orange, pink pepper, bergamot, green apple, saffron, patchouli, vanilla, oud, and ambroxan. This starts out juicy, fruity, citrusy, fresh, spicy, soft spice, or fresh spice, I should say. Once that opening calms down, the citruses, they start to dissipate, but the apple stays there. Now you've got this leathery saffron, but it's more suede-y, but it's there, you can pick it up. So now it's saffron, the apple, and now the apple has just turned more juicier, more sweeter. Dries down after a couple of minutes, the patchouli comes in. Now it starts to turn a little bit woodsy, and now that oud is coming through, but very slowly. It dries down more and more, the oud becomes more present. You get ambery touches, you get vanillic touches, but the apple still stays there. At this time, that suede is taken a back seat. Now it's just very light in the background. The apple's there with the oud. When you get into the complete dry down, that's when on my skin that apple dissipates, and you're left with balsamic qualities, sweetness, warmth, and the oud. But the oud here is not skanky, barnyardy. It really just gives this fragrance this strong woodsy undertone. It adds richness and it adds a bit of depth to the fragrance. So it starts out juicy, fruity and fresh, and then it ends up warm, sweet, woodsy with a little bit of oud, balsamic and vanillic touches. Great fragrance. It really is a pleasure to wear. To me, this is more of a going out fragrance. Some of these you can pull off during the day, not a problem. But to me, this is more of a going out fragrance. But because of that juicy opening, it has a playful side to it. Because fruity to me is playful. Anyway, that is Brioni Eau de Parfum Intense. This is a great, great fragrance. I've got one now coming from the House of Jack Fat, and it is Vetiver Grease. Chef's kiss on this one. If you enjoy Vetiver in a nutty way, look no further, because this thing is stunning. It really is. Right, magnetic cap, and these are solid weighty metal caps. Look, listen. That is a strong magnetic cap. Oh, this is so good. Right, are you ready? We've got mandarin essence, hazelnut accord, orange biograde, neroli essence, geranium essence, galbanum resinoid, iris concrete, Java vetiver, Haitian vetiver. Right. With the vetivers, you would be thinking that this is a full-on, heavy, dark, smoky, pissy vetiver. It isn't. This opens fresh. You get a little bit of citrus up top. And then you get this nutty vetiver, and that nutty nuance or that nutty vetiver that you get, that stays all the way through the fragrance. And that is why I love this. The iris adds a little bit of a powdery edge. The florals in this to me are just that. This doesn't really come across floral. I think they just keep the freshness alive through the fragrance. And I think they tame the vetiver from stopping them becoming too much. I do get earthy touches with this very lightly, and when it dries down, it does have an ever so slight smoky side, but very lightly, and that is on my skin. But like I say, that nuttiness that you get, that stays all the way through the life of the fragrance. This has a nice bit of sweetness to it, but not overly sweet. Powdery, but not overly powdery. The galbanum in this, to me, comes across like you get a little bit of a green touch and a little bit of spice, but it's always lurking in the background up top. But once you get to that mid, to me, that just levels out with the freshness, so to speak. It's just a great scent. This goes great in cooler weather. You can wear this in warmer weather. To me, it's an all year round fragrance. I think you can dress it down, but personally, I think if you're looking half sharp or smart, I think this is suited better for them occasions. But the scent is great, and I enjoy Vetiver. And anyway, that is Vetiver Grease from the House of Jack Fat. I was looking at my Montales, and there was a good few on there I think that could have made this list. But I went with Honey Oud. This is not a complex fragrance by any means, but man, does this thing make my mouth water. It is delicious, gorgeous, attractive, seductive. It's been around since 2015, and to me, this fragrance is timeless. Let me just spray it. This is strong stuff as well. You only need a few sprays of this. So if you get yourself a 100ml bottle, it will last you ages. Oh, this fills the air. This leaves a big trail. Right, you got honey, cinnamon, floral notes, Laotian oud, amber, patchouli leaves, Madagascan vanilla, and leather. What I get from the get-go, you get this rich, warm honey. You get this balsamic amber. They're all mixing in with the oud. So you got honey, amber, oud. Everything's kind of neck and neck. Once this dries down, this soft, leathery undertone comes in. It gets a little bit of a woodsy side to it. And then as it dries down more, the oud starts taking over. But it's not like some of Montel's ouds where it's very loud or very pungent, I should say. It's very smooth. Everything in this fragrance is smooth. It's got warm, sweet edges. It's like you've dripped honey over amber, oud, leather, cinnamon. You do get a little bit of spice, but I wouldn't say this is a heavy, spicy fragrance. Or I wouldn't say it's heavy on the spice, because it's tame. Like the oud is tame in this. It's a great fragrance, unisex without a doubt. If for cooler weather, irresistible in my opinion, definitely. And that is Honey Oud coming from the House of Montel. This is a great fragrance, and if you look on discounters, you can pick this up at a very good price, and it is worth the coin. Right, ladies and gentlemen, 8 great irresistible fragrances. They're all delicious, they're all attractive, they're alluring. Like if you're wearing any of these and you get close to someone, they're going to ask you what you are wearing, because there's nothing off-putting, there's nothing challenging. They're great in my opinion. They're stunning fragrances. Right, let me know which ones of these you own. Let me know which ones of these you have tried. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And remember, smelling good's always a pleasure and never a chore. And I'll definitely see you lot on the next one. Cheers.